Now that the game is officially released, I feel like it's time I share with you guys my full new player experience, Dofus Touch, and their new relaunched edition in 2024.
This mythical game is back on Android and iOS just for you, and even you.
For those who don't know what Dofus Touch is, it's an MMO that brings a captivating world of Dofus, which is their own IP, to your fingertips, allowing you to embark on a quest with the largest maps on mobile. You get to engage in strategic turn-based battles and explore a vast, colorful fantasy realm, all from your mobile device. Whether you're a seasoned Dofus player or someone new to the franchise like myself, this game offers something worthwhile. Now, Dofus features a soft, hand-drawn 2D graphic style that helps a lot of the animations really pop out during the gameplay. It fits the whimsical and wacky cartoon style of the world, with each island feeling a little different each time you visit it. And because of the gigantic maps in between islands, exploring the entire world gives you that true MMO feel the more you progress. But it's not like everyone's experience is going to be the same. Yeah, Dofus Touch launches with over a dozen classes to choose from, each coming with their own variety of playstyles to match. Now, normally I'd expect something like my traditional tank, which is technically just called a tank, or thief, sorcerer, whatever else comes to mind. But in Dofus, each class gave me a little more to work with. For example, there are the Seditas, which is a druid class that focuses on using voodoo magic to penalize enemies, heal allies, and they summon dolls to beat anyone up. In Ripsa's hands are these healers, but the healing falls way closer to the concept of an anime succubus. This class basically steals health from the enemies and then uses that same health to heal themselves or the allies. Somehow that still turns out to do a lot of damage. Eka Flip's coins are basically the gamblers of the game who deal massive damage based on random rolls. Then there's the Fex's Shield, who can technically be seen as the tanks of the game, but there's also a class called Masquerader Mystique that honestly, this one is the one that caught my interest the most. Basically a warrior style class that changes their abilities based on the mask that they wear. So in part, it kind of felt like a mix between a fighter and a rogue, or maybe like a trickster, you know, like a jester from Final Fantasy, that type of class, but somehow it still did tons of damage. But I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I'm not locked in enough to play a class this difficult. And I only say that because the game straight up tells me that this is one of the hardest classes to learn. Instead, I went with the recommended class, Eop's Heart. And I gotta say, the design was a big selling point for me because I like badass chicks. So honestly, I wouldn't even fret over what to choose from. There's something for everyone, no matter what type of player you are. After all that, I got into the tutorial, which did a pretty decent job at pointing out some key details about the combat of the game. All of your skills and abilities are based around an elemental system, and each of these can be powered up the more you level up. I thought it was pretty cool that every class learned a number of skills from a variety of elements, and it didn't feel like one class was glued to one element. That's important to keep in mind when facing off against any of the enemies in the game too, because at some point I fought these golems blocking the way to my first dungeon, and I definitely did not pay attention to that until then. More so, it really came in handy when I fought the boss Belladonna, which is the first boss after you get through the tutorial and then you get across to the first island. And Belladonna's kind of wicked. And to be completely honest, the only thing that sucked about my own experience early on was not having anyone to test out the co-op features with. I saw a lot of folks in the chat asking for group ups during my time on the first island. That option wasn't available to me at that moment in time, and I eventually forgot about it throughout my gameplay. That doesn't mean a community isn't there though. Dofus Touch allows you to team up with other players, join guilds, and participate in co-op dungeons and PvP battles. The social aspect adds an entirely different layer of excitement to the experience, and the PvP stuff is there within the game, but I didn't fully get to experience that because I'm the type of player that wants to make sure my character is strong beforehand. And something that a lot of the gacha community loves to ask me is whether or not a game is free-to-play friendly, and well, not to my surprise, Dofus Touch can be played completely free-to-play. There are some premium packs that can be bought, but I never really felt pressured to pull out my wallet. For me, any MMO that lets you buy cosmetics and pets is a win in my book. Looking ahead, Dofus Touch continues to evolve with regular updates and events coming to the MMO. The developers seem to be committed to enhancing the game's content, addressing player feedback, and promising even more excitement in the future. To wrap up my final thoughts, Dofus Touch is a great game for fans of MMORPGs and newcomers alike looking to experience a quirky game on mobile. With its charming visuals, strategic combat mechanics, and engaging world, it's easy to see why this game has captured the hearts of players around the world. Me personally, I'm just a really big fan of MMOs. The Western anime style is a plus. Let me not forget the fact that both Dofus Touch and Wakfu are made by Ankama, which is a gaming and animation studio. Now, Dofus is a prequel to Wakfu, so the stories are linked directly. There's also playable classes and monsters from the show that you can find inside of the game. So if you're a fan of Wakfu, which is the animated TV series available on Netflix, then you'll definitely be a fan of Dofus Touch. Guys, it's gonna be it for me today. If you want to have Dofus Touch for yourself, you want to experience that same enjoyment that other players are experiencing, whether that be PvE, PvP, or even free to play, you can use the link in the description down below. Big shout outs to Dofus Touch for sponsoring today's video. I can't say my usual outro because it's inappropriate for YouTube. Smell you later.